The first time it happened, I convinced myself it was just a glitch. Phones do weird things sometimes. Calls drop, voices echo, static cuts through like an old radio. But this was different. I was sitting alone in my apartment. The kind of night where silence presses against your ears until you hear things that aren't there. The glow of the TV was my only light, the kind that paints everything in cold, shifting colors. My phone was on the coffee table, screen dark. It rang once. I picked it up, but before I could even touch the screen, before my thumb moved, the call answered itself. No click, no swipe, just open. I froze. Hello. My own voice sounded small. At first, nothing. Just static, the kind you hear when you're flipping past dead channels. I almost hung up, but then, underneath the static, I heard breathing. Slow, steady, and not mine. My chest tightened. Who is this? The line hissed. Then a voice, low and cracked, whispered, "You shouldn't have picked up." I dropped the phone. The sound of it hitting the floor should have ended the call. But no, through the speaker, the voice kept whispering. Not words anymore, just a soft chuckle. The next morning, I tried to explain it away. Bad dream. Half asleep. Maybe the phone auto-answered. Some accessibility, setting I'd never noticed. I told myself all of that. But later that night, as I crawled into bed, the phone lit up on my nightstand. Unknown number. It rang once. And again, without me touching it, it answered. This time, the whisper was clearer. I'm closer now. I didn't sleep that night. Days went by, and the calls grew worse. Every time the phone answered itself, the breathing was louder, closer, like whoever, or whatever, was on the other end was right beside the microphone. Once I heard a creak, like a door opening. Then a voice that wasn't a whisper anymore. It was a murmur, repeating my name. I shut the phone off, pulled the SIM card, even bought a new one. But the calls kept coming. Even when the phone was off, it would light up. Even when I threw it in a drawer, I could still hear it, the faint static, the muffled chuckle. And then the voices changed. They weren't just whispers anymore. They sounded like people I knew. My mother's voice, soft and trembling, calling my name. A friend from college, asking if I remembered her. My own voice, repeating words I hadn't said yet. That was the night I realized it wasn't just a voice on the line. It was listening, watching. One night, I worked up the courage to speak to it. When the call answered itself, I pressed the phone against my ear and said, "What do you want from me?" For a moment, there was silence. And then, to come through, the static roared, nearly deafening. My reflection in the black glass of the phone flickered, like it had blinked. And I swore for the first time, the voice wasn't on the line anymore. It was in the room. The descent began after that. Lights in my apartment flickered whenever the phone rang. Shadows leaned longer across the walls. The whispers weren't confined to the phone anymore. I heard them in the hallway, in the bathroom, even behind me while I washed dishes. One night, the phone lit up in the dark, answering itself. The voice said, clear as a bell, "Look at the window." I did, and in the glass reflection, I saw a figure standing behind me. Tall, shapeless, grinning with too many teeth. I spun around, but the room was empty. When I looked back at the reflection, it was gone. I tried to leave, booked a hotel, but the calls followed me there too. Each time, they got bolder. The voices spoke in unison now, overlapping in a chorus of static and whispers. "We're almost through. We're almost through. We're almost through." I smashed the phone against the floor, again and again, until the screen cracked and the glass spiderwebbed. For a moment, I felt relief. But then, through the shattered, flickering screen, the call answered itself one last time. And from the broken speaker, a single word. "Behind." I turned. I don't remember leaving the hotel. I don't remember how I got home. But when I woke up in my apartment, the phone was there on the nightstand, perfectly intact. It rang once. It answered itself. And when I lifted it to my ear, I didn't hear static this time. I heard my own voice, breathing, whispering, laughing. The phone is ringing again as I write this. The screen says incoming call, unknown. But I already know. It doesn't matter if I answer. It doesn't matter if I don't, because it's already here.